On the hilltops of Tarifa, the Spanish city that faces Morocco across the Strait of Gibraltar and mainland Europe's southernmost point, gusts of wind power the turbines dotting the landscape. For the surfers who pack the city's hotels, the wind is a welcome sign of challenging waves. But for the Spanish Coast Guard and NGOs, the gusts are a warning that the record numbers of migrants and refugees attempting to cross the 10-mile strait are in grave danger. The number of refugees and migrants risking the sea journey between Morocco and Spain has been rising sharply, and last week was an exceptionally busy one for rescuers. On Wednesday, Salvamento Maritimum, Spain's maritime safety and rescue agency, together with the Spanish Red Cross, rescued nearly 600 people from at least 15 different vessels off the coast of Tarifa, the largest figure for a single day since August 2014, when about 1,300 people landed on the Spanish coast in a 24-hour period. Migrants arrive on board a Spanish maritime rescue boat at the port of Tarifa. Photograph Marcos Moreno. At most attempt the crossing using paddle boats, but others use jet skis, inflatable vessels and rickety fishing boats. According to Frontex, the EU's border agency, more migrants are dying at sea this year than in 2016. And most who continue to cross know the risks they are taking. "We prefer to die than to stay there. Death happens once, but we prefer to risk our life than stay there," said Abdo, 29, of the ethnic Amazigh community in the impoverished northern Rif region of Morocco, where hundreds of people have been arrested after recent protests against the state. He was rescued last week along with 7 others from an inflatable Zodiac boat they had bought for €4,000, a cheaper option that avoids the need to pay people smugglers for passage. Zakaria, 30, said he was saved by a helicopter last week after Coast Guard spotted him and others attempting to cross the choppy waters in another Zodiac boat. "I was afraid. If the helicopter didn't come, we would have died," he said. "The moment you're in the boat, you're selling your life, but there's no solution." Larry, 22, recent clampdowns on routes to Europe via Libya have led to the increase in attempts to reach the continent via Morocco. The International Organization for Migration (IOM) has said the number of people arriving in Spain by sea this year is likely to outnumber the number arriving in Greece. According to IOM, 11,849 irregular migrants and refugees reached Spain by sea between the 1st of January and mid-August. A further 3,500 have made it to 2 Spanish enclaves in North Africa, Ceuta and Melilla, the only EU land borders with Africa. Though Spain's numbers are dwarfed by those of Italy, which has seen 97,376 arrivals so far this year, there is significant pressure on Spanish authorities to make sure it can protect, register and accommodate those arriving on its shores. Concerns are also growing over the potential for militants to exploit migrant routes into Europe in the wake of terror attacks in Nice, Brussels and most recently Barcelona, all claimed by Islamic State. Rosa Otero, of the UN's refugee agency in Spain, said the country was not yet in an emergency situation, particularly when compared with Italy, but authorities were struggling to cope. Given the current rise, there are no adequate structures and procedures in place to deal with more arrivals and to swiftly identify international protection and other protection needs, she said, adding that the shortcomings left migrants, especially children, vulnerable to traffickers. Every day, between 3 to 4 dark green buses marked Guardia Civil arrive in Tarifa to transfer new arrivals to the nearby city of Algeciras, where the Centro de Internamiento de Extranjeros, the alien internment center, is located. Most arrivals are originally from the West African countries of Nigeria, Guinea and Ivory Coast. The Red Cross, one of many NGOs active in Algeciras, provides asylum seekers with food 3 times a day and a place to sleep. On Saturday, the center's rooms were packed with children using computers. Women washed clothes outside. Abdo was one of the men being housed at the Red Cross facility. He said the thought of the trip across the Strait of Gibraltar had frightened him, but he had been determined to make it. "What is important is that I've left Morocco, nothing else is important. We had a lot of fear, because the sea was sometimes peaceful, sometimes not," he said. "There's war. The state of Morocco has conflict with the Amazigh people. It's not like Syria, but they put us in jail for political reason. There's no rights, no economy, nothing." 2 brothers, 28 and 19, and their 2 cousins, both 21, were among those rescued on Wednesday. Like Abdo, they too belong to the Amazigh community. Last month, their city, Al-Osima on the northern edge of the Rif Mountains, was the scene of a million-man march. Moroccan security guards used batons and tear gas to quell protesters. Human Rights Watch said at least 185 people had been arrested in connection with the protests and at least 46 of them had been sentenced to 18 months in jail after forced confessions. The arm of a Moroccan Amazigh refugee, scarred after being beaten by Moroccan police. Photograph Saeed Kamali Dehagan for The Guardian. The four men made the 6-hour, 105-mile journey from Plaga Soan in El Asima to Motril, on Spain's south coast, on one jet ski. They were kept in custody for 2 days upon their arrival before being taken to the Red Cross in Algeciras. Those seeking asylum in Spain can wait anything from 6 months to 2 years to receive a decision, and a growing backlog means the processing time is getting longer. Local police say local temporary detention centers are so overwhelmed by the number of asylum seekers that they are relying on NGOs to help find accommodation. Albert Baito Dunyaka, a center coordinator at Fundación Separim in Algeciras, which shelters refugees and migrants in 8 different houses in the city, agreed there was a lack of resources to deal with the new arrivals. In my opinion, I think the authorities and European states are proving to be inefficient when it comes to addressing this phenomenon, especially the arrival of refugees, he said. The Guardian visited one Fundación Separim house on Saturday, where 7 refugees were sheltered in 4 rooms in a flat in a large residential block. Residents receive monthly payments of €50 to spend as they wish and €170 for food, until Spanish authorities reach a decision on their asylum application. Algeciras is a city of more than 120 nationalities. They know how important it is to live together. It is in moments of like this after the Barcelona attack that we realize the impact of having experience in diversity to prevent hostility, Yaka said. Larry, a 22-year-old English-speaking refugee from Ghana, lives in a Separim house. He said he first tried to reach Europe via the Libya-Italy route, but nearly died when the boat carrying 35 people capsized an hour after their departure. Larry here, it's 100% better than Ghana. Photograph Saeed Kamali Dehagan for The Guardian. Only 12 people survived, the rest all died before our eyes, among them children and women, he remembered. I swam and caught the boat, until the next day fishermen came and saw us. They went back and brought help. We were crying, they went back, people came with a boat. I was in sea for 1 day until 11 a.m. Undeterred, Larry traveled to Morocco in an attempt to reach Spain across the strait. He said he belonged to Ghana's Bimoba ethnic group, which is fighting a long-running conflict with a rival Konkomba group. He had left Ghana for Libya as soon as he finished junior high school, in search of a better life. I didn't know Libya was also fighting, he said. He worked in Libya for 3 years before going to Morocco, where he paid 1,000 dinars £82 to get on a dinghy with women and children. In this weather, a lot of people die, he said. It's up to God, some people don't reach, some people reach. The moment you're in the boat, you're selling your life, but there's no solution. The only solution is to pray God to save you, to reach the place, but it's not easy to enter this sea. Asked whether it was worth taking the risk, he said here, it's 100% better than Ghana. I was suffering, sometime beaten up on my way from Niger to Libya. When I see everything now that I'm in Europe, it was 100% worth taking the risk.